feel very short when I can't reach the button down there. But thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you all for being here. I appreciate this. It's a fascinating topic, and so I appreciate all of the expertise that you provide. And I was going to ask Ms. Mersinger, but follow up from, and forgive me, I am worse at pronouncing names than he is. So Ms. Mangiero and Mr. Sato. Oh, God.
Sato.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Or maybe I'll just call you
It's not
Jason.
like it's an easy
Maybe I'll
name.
just call you Jason, too. But I just wanted to discuss some of the taxable activities that are unique to digital assets. And some of the folks talked about staking, and I believe someone mentioned mining. And individuals or companies that engage in mining or staking often receive some form of income as a reward for their contribution to the network. And I know it depends on the specific blockchain, but generally mining and staking rewards come in two forms, either newly minted assets or transaction fees. So how should we think about the rewards received from mining or staking from a tax perspective? I know that Jason, forgive me for that's awful. I should be more formal. But you had mentioned property at some point. Mentioned creating or new property, and so I'm just kind of wondering how do we get our heads around dealing with those as a taxable thing?
Yeah, and no worries on calling me by my first name. My father might be a little disappointed watching, but he'll be all right.
We'll say hi to him.
Yeah, exactly. So you're right in terms of supporting all of these networks. There are generally what are called validators, right? They might be miners, they might be stakers, but they play some role in terms of validating transactions and getting rewarded for that work. The block rewards issue that I mentioned comes specifically from that ability to, when you are successful in validating these transactions, the rules of the network allow those validators to create new currencies for themselves. And so our position is that is not income at the time that it's received. It is kind of created property, as I was mentioning. And that becomes really important, particularly because there is also inflation rates with these networks, right, where they create new tokens. So it's not just that you get new tokens and you automatically get value. It might be, nominally that looks like it, but there might be a difference in the actual amount of value you receive based on the inflation rate broadly of the network. The other thing you mentioned was transaction fees, which on some networks do go to these validators as well. I think from a simplicity perspective, it should also be treated the same as this kind of newly created property, because it's very difficult to kind of identify where the fees are coming in, where they're going out to one particular validator or center of a transaction.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to give Ms. Mersinger and Ms. Mangiero an opportunity to respond. I've got 2 minutes, so if you each want a minute, please.
Yeah, sure. So thank you so much for the question, Congresswoman. The one thing I would add there is there's also an issue if you don't treat these things like created property and you treat them as ordinary income at the time of receipt. In terms of actual administrability, this could mean that a taxpayer could have a taxable event every day, or according to some blockchains, every 6 seconds. That's a nightmare. And so the issue is one of overtaxation, as Jason mentioned. It's also an issue of dilution. As you can imagine, as these new tokens are created, the overall amount of tokens in the network goes up. And so if you are not receiving the appropriate share, your stake in the network overall is actually diluted. So you have a problem with overtaxation, you have a problem with dilution, and we have a real problem in terms of actually administering the tax policy on behalf of both the taxpayer and the IRS.
Thank you. And Ms. Mersinger.
I'll try to do this really quick. I like to look at simple kind of demonstrations. My dad is a farmer in South Dakota. He grows wheat, sunflower, corn. And the idea of taxing these rewards upon receipt, in my mind, is much like, and Jason said this, taxing the farmer for the crops before they sell them. They wouldn't have the money to pay that tax until they sell their crops. So taxing it at the point of the crop coming out of the ground or the crop being harvested just doesn't work. And it's the same idea here. The reward is not a taxable event. It is a creation of property for the individual validator.
So just so once they totally dispose of and sell it, I'm selling my I'm going to the elevator and I'm selling that corn. But so once they totally dispose of it, so all of those transactions, all that they're doing, and I know I'm out of time, but all that they're doing just gets to happen until they're done. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Fischbach.